Hola, amiguitos! Welcome back. For those watching me for the very first time, my name is Adiola and I am a Nigerian living here in Merida, Yucatan, Mexico. Alright, today's video will be about general monthly cost of living in Merida or just in Mexico in general. And I already have a video that I published a while back about cost of living, what's cheaper in Mexico, what's surprisingly more expensive, because not everything is cheap here in Mexico. Some things are actually way more expensive in Mexico. All right, today's video, I will answer a very popular question that I see asked online a lot, and it's about whether or not you can live on 1,000 US dollars per month or less and live like a king. Or I guess in my case, a female, live like a queen. So is it possible to live in Mexico for under 1,000 US dollars a month and live like royalty? So right now the exchange rate it's about 1 US dollars to about 19 pesos. So it's been fluctuating, like it's been fluctuating and going between 18 to 19 pesos per month. So can you live on less than 19,000 pesos per month and feel like a king, or can you live on less than 1,000 US dollars per month and feel like a king or like a queen, or I guess any member of the royal family? The answer is actually, let me look, make sure nobody else is listening. All right, let's come closer. Come closer. Can you live like royalty with $1,000 or less in Mexico? The answer is no. No, you can't. You can't live on less than $1,000 monthly and feel like royalty. You know why? Because you are not royalty. You are not a king, neither are you a queen. So let's get that fact straight, okay? And you also know why? Because the royal family, they don't have a budget. They don't have monthly budgets. They spend as they wish. And the reason why they're able to spend as they wish is because, well, their subjects, they work and they pay the royal family taxes, and they are able to live off of their subjects' taxes. But you and I are not a member of the royal family, and we don't have subjects working for us, neither do we collect taxes from our subjects. We actually have to go out there, work, make our money, and budget wisely. All right? So now that we know that it's definitely not possible to live like royalty with 1,000 US dollars or less per month, I'm gonna be sharing with you how it's actually possible to live well, live good, live a comfortable lifestyle in Mexico with just $1,000 or less. Now, this video, I'm gonna be going backstage and I'm just gonna have like a quick tutorial just to share some general cost of living with you, and everything will be in pesos, right? Because we are living in Mexico and everything is in Mexican pesos. And like I said, the exchange rate right now as of August 13, 2024, which is the day that I'm recording this video, it's about $1 to about 19 pesos. So $1,000 will be about 19,000 pesos. All right. So we're going to be going over rent, food, transportation, entertainment, utilities, everything else, and see if you can make it under 19,000 pesos. All right. So let's go. Hi there, welcome back. All right, so let's get right to it. How do you live comfortably in Mexico with just 1,000 US dollars or 19,000 pesos? Because right now, as of the day that I'm recording this video, the currency exchange rate is about 1 US dollar to 19 Mexican pesos. All right. So, and this tutorial will all be in pesos because you will be spending pesos here in Mexico and not dollars. But at the end, we're going to add everything up to make sure that it adds up to 19,000 pesos. Now, this tutorial will be a general one because I'm not going to use my cost of living and use that as a yardstick for your own cost of living. We all have different preferences, right? whereas maybe I'm able to spend less on electricity, you might maybe need to spend more. Where I'm able to spend maybe more on rent, you might be willing to spend less, right? Maybe my entertainment budget is a little bit too high for you, it might be less. So, but I'm just gonna go through general cost of living at under 1,000 US dollars. And remember that average salary in Merida, it's definitely not $1,000, but people are making ends meet. They are living, quite well at their, with their salary. So the first thing you're gonna have to pay for every month will be shelter, right? So that will be rent. Now I'm gonna put rent here at 7,000 pesos. 7,000 pesos. And now I did 3 tutorials on here whereby I showed you some options for rent under 1,000 US dollars, 500 US dollars, and 350 US dollars. So meaning that this will be in that range. It's about maybe $400, a little bit over $400 for this rent, right, per month. And you can actually rent a house or even an apartment, 1 or 2 bedroom apartment in Merida at that price point, furnished or unfurnished at that price point. All right. Afterwards, you're gonna have to pay for your electricity. Now, electricity, this is different for many people. In the extreme summer months, so between April and May, to maybe June, your electricity consumption will probably be very high because it gets very hot during those 2 months in Merida. Between maybe November to February, your electricity costs will go down because it's cooler in Merida, so you might not need to run the AC as much. If you live in a 1 bedroom apartment, in my case, I live in a 1 bedroom apartment and I only have one AC, so really I'm able to keep my costs down and I only use the AC when it gets very hot. I don't use it all day long. Sometimes this past summer though was very hot, so I used it in the daytime and at night. If I'm out, then I turn it off, or when I feel like okay, my house is cool enough, then I'll turn it off. So at least I'm able to keep my costs down. And as a matter of fact, my last bill was my highest bill. It was about 600 pesos for 2 months. Usually it's about 300 to 400 pesos, so which is about 200 pesos per month. But let me just put here, let me just put 800 pesos per month. So that would be about 1,600 Mexican pesos every 2 months because the CFE bill, the electricity bill, comes every 2 months. But let's just put your electricity bill to be 500 pesos per month. And then you're gonna have to pay for your Wi-Fi/internet. So you can probably get Wi-Fi for let's say $550. I think mine it's about that amount. So there is a company called Telmex. Telmex. So let's just quickly go on there. They manage the internet for the entire country, and they also have sub companies that use their poles. And yeah, so you can save a little bit more. So as I can see here, anywhere between 450 pesos to 670 pesos. So it depends on your needs. For me, I do the basics. Even though with the YouTube channel, I might need to upgrade my internet, but for now, what I have is quite enough, right? So here they have something, 450, 550 pesos. But I just choose, let's put what we have here, with 550 pesos for Wi-Fi. And then we're gonna need a cell phone, right? So cell phone, you can probably get a cell phone with unlimited data for 200 pesos per month. And if you're gonna be home working from home, like myself, you can just switch from data to Wi-Fi so that way you consume less data. And also when you are out and about, you can just connect to the Wi-Fi at the coffee shop or at the restaurant and save a little bit more. So right now we are on this website called Telcel. Telcel as well, it is a really big internet company, cell phone company in Mexico. And here we can see the packages that they have. You can also do what's called like a pay as you go. So you go to an OXXO, you just charge, let's say, 50 pesos, 100 pesos on your phone, and that will last you for a week or so, right? But I use a package and the data is unlimited, right? So here, so they have a basic one here. It costs 150 pesos. So you get 2 gig per month and you get unlimited for all these apps: Facebook Messenger, X, Snapchat, and WhatsApp, and Instagram. For some reason, WhatsApp isn't on there, but WhatsApp is always on here. So I don't know why it's not included. So meaning you can be on those apps 24/7 and it's not going to affect your data usage, right? So 150 pesos, right, for that. But let me just put what I put here, 200 pesos. All right. So the next thing, so after you pay your Wi-Fi and cell phone, you might need to pay for gas. So if you live in a house, you're going to have a gas stove, right? If you live in a house, you're going to have a gas stove. And I heard, so I live in an apartment, so I use electricity. So, but I've heard people say that gas is very cheap. Like they only fill up their gas tank maybe every 3 to 6 months. And it's to them, they've always said it's very cheap, right? So let me just put here 100 pesos per month, even though I heard that's very cheap. Gas, water. So if you live in a house and if that's not included, probably you might need to pay a company called Hapai, JAPAY, and then they will make sure your house gets water. I live in an apartment building, so my water is included in my rent, right? But yeah, so let's just skip that, right? Most people will be living in an apartment, and for many people, their landlord actually pays for the water bill because it's quite affordable. It's nothing. But your gas for like your gas stove, that's gonna be on you, right? If you cook, if you don't cook as much, it'll probably be way less than 100 pesos per month, right? Okay, so that it is it for rent, electricity, Wi-Fi, well, rent and utilities, right? Yeah, you're gonna have to pay for electricity, Wi-Fi, cell phone, gas. What else? Yeah, that's it. Uh, they don't have home insurance in Mexico. It's not yeah, it's not something common. So right now we have about, so let me just calculate everything so far. So right now, everything is about, so 8,650 pesos. So less than 9,000 pesos. So we still have 10,000 pesos left. And we've already paid for our basics, right? We've paid for our shelter. That is very important, right? We make sure that we have electricity that's comfortable. We have Wi Fi. We have our cell phone bill. We have our gas. We are comfortable in our homes, right? So now let's go to a big expense, that is transportation. So transportation could be like taking the bus. The bus costs about, let's say, 8 pesos, 8 pesos per ride. It could be Uber, Didi, or what have you. What else? Oh yeah. So bus, Uber, or if you have your own car. Most people don't have their own cars, right? So they'll probably take the bus or Uber everywhere, or they might just walk. If you live in Central Merida, you might walk quite a lot. Because most people usually will go out in the evening when it has cooled down, so they're able to walk a few blocks to get to wherever it is they're going, or just take a quick 40 pesos Uber ride, going from one point to the next within Central, or even a little bit outside of Central. Merida is very small. Your Ubers will only be expensive if you live outside of the peripheral, or if you live just, somewhere remote, somewhere far away. But in my case, I live in Central, not Central, Central Merida. So to get an Uber for me to many places, it's about 40 pesos. If I'm going to the airport, which is about 7 kilometers, it's about maybe 80 pesos. It depends on the time of day, obviously, because sometimes they have surcharges, and that can double or triple your fare. Or you can actually ride a bike. You can invest in a bicycle and just ride everywhere. Just get a helmet and like an anti-reflective vest, right? But most people are too scared to ride a bike or even to drive, so take Uber or they'll take the bus by van. So in this case, right, so I want to put transportation to be about 300 pesos per week. And so that would be about 1,200 pesos. So that would be about 1,200 pesos per month, right? So let's say, for example, like you're going to be going out maybe to go catch up with some friends. And let's say you go, okay, I don't want to spend more than 100 pesos per day in Uber, right? And if you do that 3 times in a week, right, then that's already your 300 pesos budget. Or you can just take the bus, right? The Vibe van. It's about 8 pesos. No, it's about 12 pesos per ride, right? You take that from point A to point B, usually in the daytime. The buses, they come very frequently. You get to wherever it is you need to get to. Or sometimes you might have to take two via events. So what some people will do is that they will take the bus halfway, right? And then they will now take a Uber the rest of the way. So for example, if you live outside of the city limits, like outside of the peripheral, so some people will just take the bus, the public buses inside of the city, right? And then they will get off and then they'll just take like a 30 pesos, 40 pesos Uber ride to get to wherever it is they're going to, rather than having to wait for the second bus. So let's put Uber to be 1,200 pesos per month, right? Some people spend this much in a week. Again, it depends on your lifestyle, it depends on where you're going, it depends on, but you can definitely get away with 1,200 pesos. For me, I drive, so I put gas in my car, and usually it costs me about maybe 800 pesos for the whole month, right? Because I don't drive my car as much, and when I do drive, it's like 2 kilometers because I live very central, so I don't really go that far. Merida is very small, and I also ride my bike in between. So sometimes in Merida, it's faster to just ride a bike than to drive, right? Because driving, like you're waiting at a traffic light a lot. Sometimes it might take you 10 minutes to find parking. So I do a combination of biking and driving. So yeah, my transportation is less. But then again, I had to invest in purchasing a vehicle. So transportation, that's 1,200 pesos. So now we have almost 10,000 pesos gone, right? So we have less than 9,000 pesos left, right? So we're still balling. We're still balling. Okay, we're balling. So afterwards, so we've already paid for rent and transportation. The next thing we're gonna pay for will be food, right? So food would be groceries, right? Now, if you are on a budget, you probably want to invest more in groceries than eating out, right? So food here will be groceries because eating out will be entertainment. So I'm just gonna put that separately. It could be groceries, it could be takeout, um, order in. So like Rappi, something like that, Rappi, Uber Eats, stuff like that, right? Of course, we all know that when you cook your own meal, it's much cheaper. So for this one, for me, I don't eat as much and I cook at home like 98% of the time. I cook at home, okay? So here, right? If you go to the market, right, and you buy the local stuff, you go to the Sorianas, the Shedrawis, you go to the Super Aki, you go to like the local stores, then you're able to save. For your fruits and vegetables, you can go to your local fruteria. So fruterias, they're like fruit and veggie markets where you can buy your fruits and vegetables much cheaper, sometimes half price. So, for example, mangoes per kilos at the Walmart could be like 40 pesos per kilo. At the fruteria or at the big market, it could be 20 pesos per kilogram. So, meaning you're able to buy double the quantity of what you pay for at, let's say, a Walmart, right? So you're able to reduce your grocery bill. If you eat just basic foods like the beans, potatoes, meat, stuff like that, you're able to keep your costs down. The only time when it'll go up is if you need to just go to the Costco, you need to go to the Walmart, you need to go to Chedraui Selector, you need to buy alcohol a few times per week, you need to buy particular foods that are imported in. Because remember, in my last video, I talked about the fact that anything that's not made in Mexico, anything that has to be transported into the country, will cost you more. For me, most of my foods, everything that I buy mostly are locally made. So I'm able to spend maybe like 300 pesos, something like that in a week. Sometimes I don't even go grocery shopping in a week because I still have everything that I bought last week in my fridge. So here, let's just say your grocery budget will be about, let's say, 700 pesos per week, even though that's a lot for one person. For one person. Well, 700 pesos per week, that's about $2,800, right? I mean, 2,800 pesos, right, for your food. All right. So now let's see how much we're at so far, right? We might need to cut down on a little bit because even I'm looking at this grocery bill, and like groceries, I mean, that includes everything. It could be like your toiletries, it could be stuff for the house, shampoos, conditioners, stuff like that. So it's not always just food, right? Stuff that you need for the house. And now this is excluding pet food. So if you have a pet, then maybe add a little bit, but this is for one single human being, right? So let's see where we're at so far. Let me bring up my calculator here. All right, so right now we are at 12,650 pesos. So we have a little bit over 6,000 pesos left. Okay, so now we've already covered our basics. We've covered rent, we've covered utilities, we've covered transportation, we've covered food. Our basic needs have been met. Now let me put in entertainment, right? Entertainment. So let's say, for example, you go out a couple times a week to go get some drinks with friends, brunches, dinner. You want to go see a show, you want to go to the movies, something like that. Let's just put that at 800 pesos because if you go to a restaurant in Merida, let's say like a middle range restaurant, you can probably spend about, with the food, drinks, you can spend maybe two to 300 pesos. It depends on where you go to, right? So let's just put that at 800 pesos per month. I mean, per week. So that would be about 2,400 pesos per month, right? For entertainment. And also, entertainment could be also shopping, right? So, entertainment, shopping for new clothes, shoes, what have you. 2,400 pesos. All right. Now, so the next thing will be miscellaneous. Miscellaneous. Miscellaneous slash. Let me just put healthcare, something like that, right? Miscellaneous could be like you want to get a maid, like monthly cleaning, maid service, right? Somebody to clean the pool, the yard, just something like that. Okay? Usually for a maid, it's usually about 500 pesos, 400 to 500 pesos, a little bit more if it's a big house. But you are a single person, so you're probably renting a one-bedroom apartment, a two-bedroom house, so 500 pesos. So now here, right? So miscellaneous will be everything else. Oh, healthcare, you might need to go see the doctors, you might need to go buy some pills, medication, if it's not covered by your health insurance, or you might need to go get your braces looked into like every month. For me, I pay like 350 pesos and I go every month. So let's just put here, let's put about 2,000 pesos, right? Because, we're trying to live comfortably, right? So it's okay to hire somebody to do some work for you, right? So now let me just go and add everything up, see how much everything comes out to be. Okay. So after totaling everything up, it comes out to be 1750, right? 17,050 pesos. 17,050. So, meaning that we still have about, let's say, 2,000 pesos left, right? So, meaning you can probably be like, okay, let me save, so from that 2,000 pesos, let me save about 1,500 pesos every month, right? So that maybe every 3 months, I want to travel Mexico. So, like, let's say in a particular month, you might want to go check out, let's say Mexico City. So your flights, everything, Airbnb, you could probably spend less than 5,000 pesos. So if you save, let's say, 8,000 pesos over 5 months, you can definitely get that done. Or you can be like, hey, you know what? Let me add a little bit more to my transportation. Let me add a little bit more to my groceries, because sometimes, some weeks, some months, you might maybe want to buy a little bit more of a few things. So in a particular month, maybe you had to buy a lot of meat, or you had to buy a lot of something which costs a lot more. Or maybe, in a particular month you have friends going out a lot, somebody's birthday, what have you. So you are spending more. So you might be like, hey, you know what? I have maybe 2,000 pesos. Let me add 1,000 pesos here. Let me add 500 pesos here, because, I got a flu this month, and so I had to spend a little bit more on medicine. I had to go see a specialist. Usually, specialists in Merida, they cost maybe 500 pesos to maybe maximum 1,000 pesos. If you have the Salud Digna, which is like a medical insurance, you pay less. If you go through like the public healthcare system, you pay less. I usually go through private, right? So as you can see here, right? So let me just check to make sure I covered everything, right? So I covered rent, obviously, utilities, transportation, food, so that's grocery stuff that you bought from the store and you have to cook it yourself. I covered entertainment. It could include your shopping, anything else you just want to spend money on. So it could be, let's say, getting your nails done, right? So nails, hair. Okay, so you might want to get all those things done. So usually nails, it's about less than 300 pesos. So let's say nails, manicure and pedicure, it's about 500 pesos. It depends on where you go. Some places more. So 500 pesos, usually it lasts like 3 weeks or more. For me, it lasts me a long time. So 2 to 3 weeks, right? And so you can live well, you can live comfortably, so it's not about just managing everything. And as you can see, for miscellaneous, I even added cleaning services. It could be just once a month, somebody comes in, they do a deep clean, right, of everything, right, in your house. So that's about 7,000 pesos. All right, so that's it, right? So as you can see, it is very much possible to live comfortably with just 1,000 US dollars or less. Now, keep in mind though, sometimes the exchange rate goes up and down. So there was a time this 1,000 peso, $1,000 was only 16,000 pesos, 16,000 and a few change, meaning that that's where you might have to cut down on a few things. So these things are usually fixed. Your rent, Wi-Fi, it's fixed. Cell phone is fixed. Gas, I mean, that's very cheap. I don't think there's any room to go down. Electricity, you might maybe like reduce your consumption, but in terms of transportation, maybe instead of taking Uber, then you just take the bus more, or walk, or maybe even invest in a bicycle, because you can get a used bicycle for this amount, 1,200 pesos. Or you might maybe reduce your cost on entertainment, right, or miscellaneous, or even the food bill, right? Like I said, I don't spend this much in a month, but then it's just me and I don't eat as much, right? And I don't really eat the expensive things. I eat a lot of vegetables and fruits and some rice, potatoes, and such, but I don't eat a lot of imported stuff. So yeah, that's it, right? So as you can see, very comfortable. It's very easy to live on $1,000 and live well. Definitely not like a king, like a queen, or like royalty, but you're gonna live very well in Mexico. That is for sure. All right. If you have any other questions for me, just leave it in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. And if there's anything that I said that resonated with you during this video, just click on the like button to like this video. All right. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.